start.
It is, ladies and gentlemen, Wednesday, 7 p.m., which means it is Living Room Live, beaming here from Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Sorry,
in our living room.
We are a minute late because I just knocked over my drink on this little table here, and I had to run and grab some paper towels.
People were, the stage hands and everything were coming forward, and folks in the green room, they brought out to a new
if only
new beverage. Yeah. Hey,
well,
welcome folks
welcome
to
everyone.
This week's edition. It is officially in celebration of Earth Day, which is on the 22nd, which will be Saturday. So.
Oh, okay. I forgot what the actual date was because we were preparing for today. But yes, so we've got lots of great songs that all tie in with some reference to the environment. We're going to start off for the most part, and we're going to start off with one by Joni Mitchell called "Big Yellow Taxi." Hey, paradise, put up a parking lot with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone?
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
La 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 la, ooh, la 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 la.
They took all the trees, put them in a tree museum, and they charged the people $1.50 just to see 'em.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone?
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
La 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 la, ooh, la 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 la.
Hey, farmer, put away that DDT now. Give me spots on my apples, but leave me the birds and the bees.
Please, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone?
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
La 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 la, ooh, la 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 la.
Late last night, heard the screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my home man.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone?
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
La 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 la, ooh, la 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 la. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone?
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
La 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 la,
They paved paradise,
put up a parking lot. La 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 la.
paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Well, that one definitely fits in with the theme.
There you go. Pay
Perfectly.
paradise for the parking lot. Yes.
Hey, I'm going to take a moment to see who's all joining us tonight. I'm going to start over on YouTube tonight. And I see that we have Mickey and Mark from Wet, Minnesota.
Better than snow, I guess.
think so,
but
maybe
I
in
guess
April.
April showers, isn't it?
And so far, that's all I can see on YouTube. Although I do know that Dennis and Renata are likely tuning in, as are Kathy and Mary Ann and Rick. Is it Rick that usually
Rick,
tunes in
yeah.
on YouTube as well? Now I'm going to head over to Facebook, and I see that first in are Martin and Kirsten from Bowen Island, BC. We've got Lauren from Scarborough, Earl and Wendy from Hutchinson, Kansas. And we've got John and Linda from Illinois, Sherry tuning in from Julian, California, in the San Diego mountains. She's on a mini adventure. That sounds wonderful, actually. We've got Gail tuning in from Toronto. We've got Deborah from South Jersey and Charles from Bonnie, Scotland.
Hey, folks.
And Peggy is tuning in from Iowa, and Melanie tuning in from Bangor, Maine. And we've got Doug and Sharon tuning in from Sharon's living room. And that's here in Toronto. And we've got Chris tuning in I forget. I'm sorry, Chris. I forget where you're from. We've got Judy tuning in from Prince George, and Cindy from Ohio, and we've got Sandra just chilling here in Toronto, Kathy from Pierre, South Dakota, Eleanor from Idaho Falls.
Bet you that's in Idaho.
I bet you that's in Idaho.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's moving fast, and we've got Debbie tuning in from Campbell River, BC, and Nancy from Madison, Wisconsin. Oh, this thing is moving so fast on me now. Sorry, we've got Marlene tuning in from Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. Oh no, I'm sorry, I've got the wrong Marlene there. We've got
California Marlene.
from our California, from Los Angeles, California.
Manitobans are out still celebrating the Winnipeg Jets won last night,
And
the
we've got
Leafs didn't.
We've got Gwen tuning in from here in Toronto. And I think that's all I can see right now. Well, we'll keep checking in. And also after the show, we'll be able to read all the comments in detail. It's something we really enjoy doing. So this next song is one that I wrote called Almost Missed the Beauty. And I wrote this when we were in northern Ethiopia. We had the opportunity to go and visit the Blue Nile Gorge. And when presented with such an opportunity, most people would say, yes, let's walk over there right now. But because I've always been a bit of a nervous person, I worry about things. My first thought was, if we walk over to this gorge, by the time we're coming to see the sunset, by the time we're coming back, it's going to be very dark. And it's not like some of the tourist places you'd expect or you'd see here in North America, where there's lots of railings and things and all sorts of safety features for tourists. I mean, it's a natural, beautiful...
It's Grand Canyon of the Ethiopia.
And it's absolutely gorgeous. So anyway, I decided to swallow my fear, and we walked over there, but I was being so careful looking at the ground the whole time. I actually almost missed seeing the sunset that we went to see, but luckily I looked up just at the right moment. And this song is just a reminder to myself not to be so afraid of things.
Do I look short? Do I look fat? Quit your job, might think you're lazy. Work too hard, they call you crazy. So
I almost missed the sunset as it slipped into the gorge. I was trying to get my footing like so many times before. It happened in an instant, a blink of an eye. I almost missed the beauty unfolding in the sky.
careful, don't talk to strangers. Careful,
So many
dangers. Careful, lock the door. Don't know what's in store for you. All our fears take precious time, build up walls and cloud our mind. Waste the time that we've been given, holding back instead of living now.
I almost missed the sunset as it slipped into the gorge. I was trying to get my footing like so many times before. It happened in brings back lots of memories. You know, it's funny when we sing these songs, they kind of transport you back to the time. Where does this one transport you back to? Because you wrote it.
I have no idea why I wrote this song. I guess sometimes, you know, you just see an article in the paper, and in this case, it was all about bananas. And aren't bananas fascinating? I seem to think so every once in a while. You know, they're everywhere, but actually they are indigenous to Southeast Asia, and they have now spread across the world. So every day we get our steady share of bananas. And most of the bananas around the world are the same. It's a monocrop. And that's a problem because just like the potato famine in Ireland in the mid-80s, if you plant the same
80s?
thing, mid-1880s,
1880s.
if you, 1840s, sorry, if you plant the same thing and with no biodiversity, it makes it easy for the pests to get in. So the banana is a perfect example. There have been a number of bananas over the different varieties over the centuries, all because they try and grow it like a monocrop. And so this is all about one of the tastiest bananas that we will not taste because it went out of fashion in 1953 because of the blight, replaced by the Cavendish Boo. So I thought Gros Michel required its own little place in history, and good Earth Day story all around. Gros, and you get to roll your R's because it's French. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, you were the top banana. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, till Panama came at you. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, stood so tall until you fell. Now no one can recall your name, once mighty Gros Michel. Now no one can recall your name, once mighty Gros Michel. You roamed around this great big world by many different names. Big Mike among the English, Gino Gigante in Spain. Yet from eager beginnings and your Southeast Asian birth, you soon became the taste of the town all around the earth. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, you were the top banana. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, till Panama came at you. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, stood so tall until you fell. And no one can recall your name, once mighty Gros Michel. Now no one can recall your name, once mighty Gros Michel. They say you rose to 20 foot tall with taste beyond compare. A yellow tender monocrop on plantations everywhere. From the time of Napoleon up to 1953, you were the reigning beau vivant of the Musa family. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, you were the top banana. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, till Panama came at you. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, stood so tall until you fell. Now no one can recall your name, once mighty Gros Michel. Now no one can recall your name, once mighty Gros Michel. Yes, we have no bananas, became your swan song. The Panama disease took hold, you didn't have too long. Then came the junkie Cavendish, so conducive and so slight. And though it had so little taste, it could resist the blight. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, you were the top banana. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, till Panama came at you. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, stood so tall until you fell. Now no one can recall your name. Once mighty Gros Michel. Everyone, Gros Michel, roll those R's. You were the top banana. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, till Panama came at you. Gros Michel, Gros Michel, stood so tall until you fell. Now no one can recall your name. Once mighty Gros Michel. Now no one can recall your name. Once mighty Gros Michel. Now no one can recall your name. Once mighty Gros Michel. And as I think mentioned in previous shows, when we play this song, the Cavendish now is experiencing significant blight. So in the next 5 to 10 years, it will be on its way out and we will have a new banana. When will we stop planting monocrops? Discuss amongst yourselves.
Is that banana already available, the one that's going to replace it?
I think they're already slowly bringing it out.
Wow.
I'm not 100% sure where we're at on that one.
Yeah, I just came over to...
Lauren may want to just punch in banana.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of work for Lauren. I let him just relax and
Lauren,
enjoy the show.
Get the night off tonight? Lauren, you get the night off tonight.
Well, it just seems like having to research, that's a lot of work. Hey, I just came over to YouTube, and I don't see any new names, but I do see a question or a comment from Mark asking you to share what that guitar piece was that you opened the show with.
Oh, well... one of my favorite guitar players of all time is Jorma Kaukonen. He was the lead guitar player for Jefferson Airplane. But he was an amazing fingerstyle guitar player. You can go online, Mark, they've got videos of him. He's got this ranch I think it's in Ohio, Fur Peace Ranch, where you can go and take lessons. And that was called Embryonic Journey. I believe it was on Surrealistic Pillow, which it's a beautiful acoustic song. And it has no place, it doesn't fit in all on a Jefferson Airplane record, but Jorma is an amazing guitar player, amazing. So there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Now
Thanks.
thanks for asking. Is that
Thank
what
you
you were
for
going to
asking.
say? Yeah. This next song is actually a perfect match for an Earth Day celebration. It's a song that I co-wrote with one of my friends who is an amazing singer-songwriter. Her name is Kim Cole, and it's the very first song that we ever wrote together, and it's called Mercury Rising. And it came about when Kim came over one day, or called me on the phone actually, and she said, I just read this article about the snow melting on the top of Mount Kilimanjaro and all the problems that it's causing for the people at the base of the mountain. And she says, we have to do something about it. And so we thought, well, what can a couple of songwriters in Toronto do? We'll write a song. And so she came over that morning and we sat down, and by the end of the day, we had this song finished. And that is in 2008 we did that. And it's, the problem with global warming is still a huge problem. We keep hoping that our little song is going to hopefully spark some action in someone when they hear it, and so we're going to keep playing it until that happens.
Actually, we flew over Kilimanjaro twice. One in 2707, and there was still a pretty robust cap on it. And I think in 2009, it was already in obvious distress, as they say. And it makes a big difference because that water flows down. And so many of the farmers in northern Tanzania and Kenya, southern Kenya, rely on this for their livelihood. So.
All right, so this is from our Little Child Big World CD. It's called Mercury Rising. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ancient ice caps melting, prophecy of what's in store. silent victims of a warming planet, obligations we ignore. Majestic Kilimanjaro, staircase to heaven's door. What's to become of those who live in your shadow when the waters flow no more? When the waters flow no more. Rising, Mercury rising, tempers and temperatures flare as the Mercury's rising. Western thirsty prophet drives the fumes that fill the air. Choke the grazing plains of Tanzania. People headed for despair. People headed for despair. Rising, Mercury rising, tempers and temperatures flare as the Mercury's rising. Hopelessness rising. No homes for refugees lost to the Mercury rising. Ancient ice caps melting, prophecy of what's in store. Raging battle, we are surely losing. Who are the soldiers in this war?
Nice song, Sue. Nice
Thank
song,
you.
Kim.
Thank you. Oh, here, this just caught my eye. Gwen is asking, what can we as individuals do to help ease the climate crisis? And I think one of the biggest things we can do, because it is pretty daunting for individuals, but I think what we can do is we can elect governments that will, take the environment, their responsibility to the environment very seriously. So that is definitely something we can do as individuals.
I just read this yesterday. Ontario. We're right on Lake Ontario. And there's all this wind coming over there. 10 years ago, the government said, we don't agree with wind farms. So what they did instead, they're going to build nuclear reactors, which are not renewable, right? There's nuclear waste, and use gas plants, which are actually not both create more environmental waste, but they're more expensive now than turbines. So there's a political issue with wind turbines. Let's just get past it, put the turbines up, it'll be fine. And also just use less energy. Public transit, insulate your house, low flow toilets, all of these things feed into
Little bits by everyone help in
keep
lots
your
of ways.
low carbon footprint, right?
Hey, this next song, now I'm not totally sure how this one fits in though, beyond the fact that
We like the song.
we like the song, but Uncle Joe was a man of the earth. You know, he
absolutely,
he
yeah.
gardened. He worked in the mines.
Took the bus.
He was a guy who most of his work involved something to do with the earth, didn't it? He was a miner. He worked on farms. Even in his retirement years, he kept up a big garden in his backyard, which is another thing actually
They say
that
that
can help.
you gardener, you
You reduce the amount of stuff that needs to be trucked everywhere.
but also it's good for your health.
And it's great for your health, yes.
So Uncle Joe used to tell me his favorite food was potatoes. Not uncommon for somebody from Eastern Europe. But he'd always kind of laugh at me and say, "Dwight, you're not a very good farmer." And he was right. But he sure was.
He sure was.
Yeah. So here's a song all about my Uncle Joe coming all the way from what is now Western Poland in the 1920s to seek his fame and fortune here in Canada. Oh, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I came here far away, left my family, why I won't say. Came on a boat to this new land, I won't go back here, I'll make my stand. I traveled west to find a job, instead got hit by Bennett's mob. Found a farm for room and board, kiss the soil, thank the Lord. Stoop the wheat, work the soil, the room and board for all my toil. I work hard, did you know I'm strong as hand, my name is Joe. My friend Stan found a way, make some money, keep our pay. We head off to work the shield, go underground and leave the fields. Black flies bite, way to the bound, bunkhouse puts out quite a smell. Play the cards into the night, call us bohunks, by Jimbo we fight. Climb through the rock, blast the ore, muck the muck, go back for more. Winnipeg, Pickle Crow, I'm the king miner, my name is Joe. He sits with us Saturday night, we watch the hockey start to fight. He calls us cats when we are bad, winks at us and never gets mad. We sit in the step, he rolls his own, give us a poke before the folks get home. Play with him, now we won't tell, brag to Dad, and Joe gets hell. Like deep the garden, plant the seeds, cut the lawn and pull the weeds. Go to the market, clear the snow, I'm Mary's husband, my name is Joe. Joe got older, settled down, used the train to help get around. Shop the bargains at the Safeway store, unpack the bags, go back for more. He come out to watch us play, stay with our dog when we go away. Kid's best uncle, dog's best friend, we couldn't wait to see him again. We laugh with him, watch the sport, cut the rye bread, he pours a snort. I think of him through high and low, we'll always love him, he's my Uncle Joe. I stoop the wheat, work the soil, good room and board for all my toil. I work hard, and did you know I'm the strongest hand, my name is Joe. Laugh with him, watch the sport, cut the rye bread, pours the snort. I think of him, high and low. So while I should have been concentrating on my playing, I was pondering Gwen's question a little more.
Uh-oh.
The other thing is to reject fast fashion. Most
That's hard
clothes
to
are
do.
either made from polyester, which is gas, or cotton, which takes an awful lot of water. It takes an awful lot of pesticides. And so just wear your clothes longer. Or as they always say, go to Value Village or any of those places and just reuse it. And they're also finding more ways where you can recycle clothes. So look in your area, and because they can break down I won't get into a lot of detail, but you can break down the fibers and reconstruct it.
Yes.
So
All right.
there you go.
Well,
Sue just gave me the
I just gave
the
him
hook
the gotta
there.
keep moving here. All right. Well, that, as Martin says.
Where's my cue, Martin?
Martin says that kalimba can only mean one thing, and that is Poetry Corner. Well, last week I had such a short poem. I mean, it was probably the shortest poem I'd ever written, and today I have quite a long one. So it all
get a
kind of
coffee,
balances
folks.
out.
Get a snack.
All right, this one happens to be called, or it happens to be about the wind, and it's called Fear the Wind. I remember a tiny child with ringlets standing at the bus stop, desperately holding on to her hair, the wind swirling around her head. Her brother laughing, her beleaguered mother not knowing what to say beyond, "Don't worry, your hair is not going to blow away." All these years later, the source of that idea remains unclear, although most likely the brother was somehow at the root of it. The only one in the tableau enjoying the scene being played out, though not the kind of behavior one expects of a Cub Scout. And thus began a lifelong tentative relationship with the wind, making it hard to completely let go and enjoy a blustery day. When one is transported back to that time of dread, imagining the wind stealing every hair on my head. In fairness, that one incident isn't solely responsible for my wariness of the unpredictable movement of air. I've seen the damage wind can leave in its wake, flying debris and boats overturned on the lake. There's the downing of power lines, the fanning of forest fires, ancient trees toppling, and sometimes even houses. Oh my, maybe that little girl was onto something, and it wasn't so ridiculous to fear the wind. I think I was hearing 4 strong winds, wasn't I?
You were hearing 4 strong winds, yes. Yes, indeed.
So I think I believe that week, which was just a couple of weeks ago, our prompt for our poetry group, I'm part of an online poetry group. We call ourselves the Hidden Poets Society, and I believe our prompt that week was the wind. So it was lucky I had something that fit in with tonight's theme. I don't worry about the wind blowing my hair away anymore. I don't know, as I say, where that initially started, but sometimes the wind can be a little bit scary, as we've seen. So anyway, are you going to play us out? Don't forget to
here
play
I
us
was
out,
just
Martin
thinking, hey,
says.
when do we get to play the next song? But
No.
we don't, not until...
Not until you play us out of Poetry Corner.
It sound like a wind chime?
It did a little bit, yes.
Thematically, you see how we tied that all together?
See how that just all kind of went
See what I
together.
did you there?
Hey, this next song I've been... Oh, just before we move on, I just want to take a moment to let folks know that we don't charge a cover charge for our online shows. But we do have an online tip jar. So if you're enjoying the show and you're in a position to be able to do so, we have our tip jar information all at our website. Oh, there it is, at sueanddwight.com. And we can take e-transfers, credit, debit, or PayPal, and also personal checks in either Canadian or US currency. So if that's something you're able to do and you'd like to do, we appreciate it very much, and thank you in advance for that. All right, this next song, I've been so excited about this. You know, in spite of all the things that, you know, we were talking about climate change and all those things, I mean, it really is still an amazing world that we live in, and this particular song always kind of makes me feel a little bit teary actually when I hear it. It's called What a Wonderful World. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you.
I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do?
They're really saying, I love you. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. That's such a beautiful song. That was written by two fellas, one George David Weiss and Robert Thiel. And I think this song is most closely associated with Louis Armstrong. And that is a version that always gives me chills and makes me tear up.
Well, there was one distinctive voice. Eh?
Oh,
When
man.
Satchmo, as they call them,
Yeah.
would sing, you know who is singing. It's like
For sure.
Odetta.
And it's funny, you know, that the little part that always chokes me up is I see friends, you know, passing by saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. And as we were kind of getting the song ready for the show, it got me thinking about the friends that meet in the chat area on this song, on this show, and how much we enjoy seeing you interact. So after the show, we make our dinner, and then we read through all of the comments. And so we're able to see all these wonderful relationships that have been growing over the years. And it's really, really heartwarming, actually, to see these friends from totally different parts of the world, and they're meeting here and chatting and looking out for each other. You know, if somebody's missing, there's always a question, where's so-and-so tonight? And I just love that. I feel that it kind of brings people together, and I just love that part of it. Well, this
You
next
need to
song.
get your guitar.
Oh, am I?
Yeah. So I'm just
yes.
thinking, you know, again, back to Gwen's question. I have more ideas. Buy
Oh, dear.
buy in season your
You're
fruits
gonna
and
have to
vegetables.
run for office.
No, you buy your fruit and vegetable in season. Don't buy strawberries in the winter. Buy them in the summer. That shipping costs a lot, and it'll encourage local markets. We are now getting greenhouse strawberries here in Ontario. But let's hear your thoughts.
Yes,
yeah, why
let
don't
us
you fill
know,
that chat
because-
room with the best ideas and what's going on? Like Sue mentioned, there's people all over the world, from
And we-
Scotland to Southern California to Florida to BC, all places in between.
And we're always looking for ways that we can do better. I mean, you know, we try to do as much as we can, but there's so many opportunities to do better, and we'd love to know other ideas that you have. Now, this next song is one that I wrote when we were in Uganda. It was on my second visit there. On my first visit there, it had been just after
There'd been a civil war
There'd
for
been a
30 years, and it
yes,
just ended.
and people were just going to be going back to their villages. They had been living in these displaced persons camps, I guess, for years.
IDP camps,
IDP,
internally
so
displaced.
internally displaced persons, yes. And so, you know, they were going to be moving back to their villages and their farms, and, you know, it was a very exciting time. So 2 years later when we went, you know, I was thinking it's going to be so great to see them back, you know, farming and doing all these wonderful things that to sort of reestablish their lives. However, when we arrived, we found that they were in the midst of a very serious drought. And so people, you know, had been working so hard to try and reestablish their farms and their gardens, and the weather just would not cooperate. And I thought, you know, who's in charge of making things fair, because they weren't doing a very good job. These people had been through so much, and now they were having to deal with so much more. And so I wrote this from a place of, you know, I guess just feeling that they deserved a better break than they were getting. And it's called When the Rains Don't Come.
2, 3, 4.
Plant the seed, wait for rain, but the rains don't come, the crops don't grow. Work hard today, plan for tomorrow, but the rains don't come and the crops don't grow. Camden soil is red and dusty when the rains don't come and the crops don't grow. Who decides who lives or dies, and damn all those who proselytize that we all get what we deserve. There's nothing further from the truth every time we turn our eyes. Another hungry baby cries. hope for the future, but the
Rains don't come and the crops don't grow.
leave the camps, flat plow the fields, but the
Rains don't come and the crops don't grow.
Ugandan sun is unrelenting, but the
Rains don't come and the crops don't grow.
Who decides who lives or dies, and damn all those who proselytize that we all get what we deserve. There's nothing further from the truth. Every time we turn our eyes, another hungry baby cries. His mother's pain cannot be justified. Who decides who lives or dies, and damn all those who proselytize that we all get what we deserve. There's nothing further from the truth. Every time we turn our eyes, another hungry baby cries. His mother's pain cannot be justified. Forgotten people pray for help when the
Rains don't come
and the
crops don't
If you'd like to see a little video I put together with some pictures and some footage from Uganda, it's on our YouTube channel, Sue and Dwight YouTube channel, and I put the music to some of that footage. Now, it wasn't the best quality film at that time. That was, wow, 2009, I guess. So
13 years ago.
boy, things have sure
Using a flip-
changed.
yeah,
Now,
flip camera.
now in your own little, in your little phone, you can take better footage, I think, than I was able to with a camera at that
But
time.
but it takes you there, so it's
does,
really
yeah.
you'll see it. It's wonderful. Next song we're going to do, I wrote this. This song's from our 4 Moment CD, and it's one of these songs that has origins in a book. The book was called The Long Emergency by John Howard Kunstler. And the first book he wrote was all about the what people thought was going to be an energy crisis, and that we'd be running out of gas. And then the fracking came along, and then other things, and now there's lots of oil and gas. However, he was a pretty clever guy, so he decided to go from writing nonfiction to a fiction book about what would happen if all of a sudden the energy stopped. What would happen to our societies? And wrote a book called The Long Emergency, and World Made by Hand, which is the name of the song. I read the book, I loved it, and decided I'd write a song about it, sort of in the style of The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, a bit of a narrative kind of thing. And if you get a chance, pick up the book. It's really good, really interesting. And
he seems like a really nice guy too, because when we were going to record the song, because we were referencing his book and actually even using a few terms from his book, Dwight wanted to be sure that he was okay with us doing that from a copyright perspective or whatever. So he sent him an email, and James, is that James Howard
James,
Kunstler?
yeah.
He sent back a note saying, sure, go ahead. So that was kind of nice. Made things easier for us. So here we go.
And what I listened to the CD because there's a gospel quartet on it.
Oh, yes.
It's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Made me cry. I dreamed I saw Robert Earl standing in the dawn. One hand steady on his plow, one hand on his gun. And within each turn of soil gave new hope to the land. There seemed to be a different place, a world made by hand. Now it's a world made by hand, world made by hand. One stone, one hope, one soul at a time. It's a world made by hand, world made by hand. We'll build a new Jerusalem up the river. Horses back behind the wheel, water from the well. Rusting cars fed crumbling roads as weary buildings fell. They say New York is finished, the president's gone away. In Union Grove, said Robert Earl, we're living day by day. We didn't heed the warning of the long emergency. Now it's a slow and dangerous world that's left for you and me. We still believe in a future for what's left of humankind, but it won't be like the world we left behind. When I awoke and cleared my head, Robert Earl was gone. Left behind was his message of how it all went wrong. The changes we bring to the earth can be no mystery. The world can't take much more of us, seems so plain to see. Ancient glaciers melting, rising of the seas. Deserts creep on fertile soil from just 2 degrees. Too many in denial, it's time to take a stand, or all that will be left behind is a world that's made by hand. It's a world made by hand, world made by hand. One stone, one hope, one soul at a time. It's a world made by hand, world made by hand. We'll build a new Jerusalem up the river. Well, it's a world made by hand, world made by hand. One stone, one hope, one soul at a time. It's a world made by hand, world made by hand. We'll build a new Jerusalem up the river. We'll build a new Jerusalem up the river. We'll build a new Jerusalem up the river. I dreamed I saw Robert Earl standing in the dawn. Robert Earl was sort of the main character in the book who was sort of trying to hold it all together while all this chaos was happening. World made by hand, yes.
Well, we're down to the last couple of songs already. Wow, this is going by fast. This next song is one I wrote. This is one of my my songs I wrote during the pandemic. And I was just going to look for the date, 2020. And I was kind of looking at the news, and it just seemed to be one thing after another. You know, there was at the time there were forest fires in along the West Coast. There was there was.
We're in the middle of COVID.
We're in the middle of COVID. You know, the environmental aspect was there as always. There were racial issues that were just horrible to be watching on the news, and I just kind of felt like the world was out of control, and that's what inspired me to write this song called "How Do We Get Out of This Mess?" How do we get out of this mess when the whole damn world's on fire? Society crumbling from unrest, situation dire. We need to wake up before it's too late and it burns beyond repair. We need to shake up
Before it's too late, or does anybody care?
How do we get out of this mess when we're fighting a losing battle? Environment is under duress, situation fragile. We need to clean up
Before it's too late,
and we cannot breathe the air. We need to shake up
before it's too late,
or does anybody care? How do we get out of this mess where some people's lives don't matter? There's some treated worse than all the rest. Situation sadder. We need to step up
before it's too late,
and demand a world that's fair. We need to shake up
before it's too late,
or does anybody care? Does anybody care? Is anybody there?
does anybody know what to do?
How do we get out of this mess when the whole damn world's on fire? Society crumbling from unrest, situation dire. We need to
Wake up before it's too late,
and it burns beyond repair. We need to shake up
before it's too late,
or does anybody care? We need to clean up
before it's too late,
and we cannot breathe the air. We need to step up
before it's too late,
and demand a world that's fair. We need to shake up
before it's too late,
or does anybody care? How do we get out of this mess? And I'm sorry to say that
got the answer?
they have no answers, and the situations all continue.
Buy local, buy local.
Yeah, so the situations all continue, so we have to keep fighting for all to improve everything. Now we are going to end on a little bit of a happier song.
Upbeat. This is here it
upbeat.
is, folks. Here's the we're gonna make the earth move, right?
Yes,
Starting next year.
I like this song because it's about the earth, but in a more metaphorical way. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down. I feel my heart start to tremble whenever you're around. Ooh, baby, when I see your face,
My emotions
Or something I just can't tame. I just got to have you, baby. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down. I just lose control down to my very soul. I get hot and cold all over, all over, all over, all over. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. Of course, a Carole
Hey,
King
nice one.
song. That was fun. We pulled that one out thinking that would be a fun one
we've
to
done
end
that
the show.
one other
I
time
think we did in our
in the
70s
early days.
show, maybe. Or was
Maybe
it
even on this one. We may have done it on, but it's been a while. What a punchy song.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's great.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of another week of Living Room Live.
So just, I just want to jump in and for folks in the Toronto area, just a reminder that we do have our 60s folk revival show with the full band up in Stouffville. Check out on Saturday night. We believe there's still tickets left, although they were going fast. It'll be at a wonderful church up there. It's a fundraiser, so check out our website. And I think tickets are only $15, and it's going to be a great show. So
15.
1-5,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's going to be fun. We got together with Henry
With
and
the
Tony
band?
yesterday. We ran through the songs and got chills a couple of times because we remembered that feeling of, or it brought back that feeling of the four of us together and the harmonies and all that stuff. So we're looking forward to that. But
And it appears my goatee, or this is not
It's
a
coming
goatee.
in.
This is I can't remember the name of it now, but Earl. I told Earl what it is.
Yeah.
So it appears to be growing in. It looks like I'll keep it until.
Yeah, I think we're going to just
Saturday.
need to do a little sculpting around here. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
I've been consulting the photos of Paul Stuckey and Peter Yarrow, and he's getting a good look there. So, all right. Well, we must tell them about Friday night. Actually,
Yeah.
we are doing our online 60s folk sing along, and if you haven't joined us for that show before, it's lots of fun. We do songs from the 1960s folk revival period and folk pop from the later 60s, and we always have the lyrics on the screen so that you can absolutely sing along with every song. So we hope you'll join us for that. That's this coming Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We like to keep all our online shows at the same time so we remember, but it makes it easier for you to find us. So we hope you'll join us for that. And then next Wednesday, we are going to be back with another Living Room Live. And our theme for that is celebrating International Dance Day. So we're kind of excited about that. We're pulling together some fun songs for
Yeah,
that.
we're going to
one.
be doing songs. We're not going to be tap dancing or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think we'll
unless you really.
We won't be dancing, but we'll be singing songs that will make you dance, and we'll hope that you'll get up and dance. So, all right, we are going to say goodnight, and thank you for joining us, and everybody take care, and we'll
Enjoy the rest
see
of
you
your
soon.
week. Yeah.